Some Amazing Cultivation Experiences, April 13, 2025, by a Falun Dafa practitioner in Shandong Province, China. Minghui.org. I'm 61 years old, and I began practicing Falun Dafa in 1998. I always believed in the divine, and I liked to use the Book of Changes to tell fortunes. I also had Falun Dafa books, but I put them in a drawer and didn't touch them for 2 years. I talked with a coworker when I worked in Qingdao in 1997, and I asked if he'd heard about Falun Dafa. He said his wife practiced. She used to be plagued with all sorts of illnesses and had to rest after every 5 steps when she walked. After she began practicing Falun Dafa, all her illnesses disappeared, and she said it felt like she was flying when she walked. I was amazed, and when I returned home, a friend asked me to go with him to a Falun Dafa practice site to watch people doing the exercises. When we got there, I began doing the exercises by following with their movements. When I did the second exercise, I felt a powerful energy, and I realized Falun Dafa is special. I decided to take up the practice. After the persecution begins. On July 20th, 1999, the Chinese Communist Party, CCP, started the persecution campaign against Falun Dafa. Because I refused to stop practicing, my wife threatened to divorce me. I said, "I'll give you all our assets, but I won't stop practicing Falun Dafa." My wife no longer tried to stop me from cultivating, and I passed that tribulation. I know that I'm a cultivator, not an ordinary person. Whatever problems I face, issues I encounter, or discomfort my body experiences, I treat them all as abnormal states, and I send forth righteous thoughts to rectify them. Once when I quarreled with my wife, I pointed my finger at her. My lower back immediately hurt so much that I couldn't move. I first looked within, and then I negated the old forces. I did not acknowledge their arrangements. The pain soon disappeared. One night, when another practitioner and I went out on his motorbike to paste truth-clarifying stickers, we collided with a large stone so hard that the front wheel was torn off. As I lay on the ground, I felt nauseous and I vomited. I was able to move my hands and arms, so I knew they weren't broken. I listened to Master's lectures at a practitioner's house that night. The next day, my family insisted that I go to a hospital. I said, "I'm fine. I don't want to go." My family saw that I was adamant, so they no longer insisted. After I returned home, I couldn't move for 4 days, and I couldn't get out of bed. I kept studying the FA, and by the 28th day, I was able to go out to work. When the situation is difficult, we must not forget to study the FA. Only by studying the FA can we improve our Xing, and then we're able to overcome tribulations. About 10 years ago, I suddenly seemed to be paralyzed. I couldn't move, and I kept vomiting. It took me half an hour to get up. I read and listened to the FA, looked within, and refused to follow the old forces' arrangements. I recovered the next day, and my wife did not know about this ordeal. Miracles happen during the process of saving sentient beings. I was posting truth-clarifying messages when someone heard me and asked, "What are you doing?" I quickly got on my motorbike and left. When I recalled the incident later, I don't know how I managed to get on my motorbike so quickly and leave. The most miraculous encounter happened in the winter of 2000. At that time, the persecution was very severe. A practitioner and I bought a thick plastic board that was 9 meters long by 1 meter wide and made a plaque with the words, "Falun Dafa is good. Truthfulness, compassion, forbearance is good." We hung it on a high-voltage tower next to a very wide road so people could see it from far away. I climbed the tower and hung the board. The high-voltage tower was 30 meters high and carried 220,000 volts. Halfway up, the electric arc was so hot that the heat was hard to stand. I could feel the electricity, but I wasn't worried. I just had the thought that I must get up there, and I successfully hung the sign. The sign caused an uproar. The local police couldn't get it down, so they contacted the Municipal Public Security Bureau and Electricity Bureau. They tried to find someone to climb the tower. However, those who managed to climb halfway up were too frightened to continue. It took a lot of effort to saw the plaque into pieces before they could get it down. This really was a miracle because I wouldn't have been able to climb up there and hang the sign if Master hadn't protected me, improving my cultivation while participating in a project. I mainly make CDs and calendars, and I've had many experiences that I'd like to share with you. The image was not clear on some CDs a practitioner made, and only 80% could be played. I understood that it was not the CDs that were faulty. Instead, I should send forth righteous thoughts and examine myself. After I looked within, 99% of the CDs were readable. That practitioner also looked within, and he suddenly said, "I found the problem." After that, the CDs were 100% readable. While working on projects, we cannot have any notions. When an experienced practitioner teaches a new practitioner, he should only teach him the operating steps and not add any negative thoughts. We need to believe in Master and have strong, righteous thoughts. Only in this way can we correct anything that isn't correct. When we meet with problems, our first thought should not be that the equipment is faulty. Instead, we should look within unconditionally. We shouldn't have negative thoughts about the equipment. Some practitioners say they can't print calendars for prolonged periods of time as it will cause the nozzle to get clogged. We need to send forth righteous thoughts so that no problems occur. The equipment problems are actually our xing problems. Our hearts need to remain calm as our cultivation can correct all issues. When our xing isn't able to reach a certain standard, we won't achieve good results. Sometimes, the printer works perfectly at the repair shop, but problems occur when it is in practitioner's hands. This means that the practitioner needs to cultivate his xing. We need to cherish our tools and treat the equipment well. No matter how busy we are, we need to correct ourselves before we work on projects. We need to study the Fa and send forth righteous thoughts before we start to work. When things don't work, our first thought should not be that it's the equipment's fault or blame other practitioners. Only when we correct ourselves will we be able to truly help the project. There are many more miraculous stories in my cultivation. I hope that people stop being deceived by the CCP's lies, believe in Dafa, and recite, "Falun Dafa is good, truthfulness, compassion, forbearance is good," sincerely in their hearts, so they'll be blessed.